By that, Becky means like re-gift stuff that she's gotten extras of.
But just don't put that in the recording, please. Everyone does it.
It's too late. It's already recorded.
Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast, where I am
dying. I am dying. Your radio voice was like amazing just now.
Super on
like
today,
amazing.
Shai.
Like I feel like you were like whispering in my ear, like a sweet nothing that would allow me to fall asleep. That was insane.
I am trying to make up for last week's audio disaster, so I'm gonna keep it really calm.
Butter to my ears.
So, where I get together with my sisters, who are just great. I've been thinking a lot about you guys, been watching a lot of home videos the last few days, and we just had a hilariously awesome time together. So this is one of the most exciting and fun parts of my week is getting together with you both. So I am thrilled to be here with you. Lily, how are you doing? I believe you're out on the street somewhere.
No, I've managed to like be in a little room. I'm away with my family on a like literally what is a definition of a deserted island, which is awesome because it's one of the an island off of one of the Canary Islands, and it's very cool. But there's like no cars, and it's just like sand for streets. This is like Shai's nightmare. There's no Wi-Fi. The streets are paved with sand.
This doesn't sound like vacation. This sounds like where they used to send like revolutionaries from France in the 1400s.
Right. You're like, this is where they filmed Survivor.
No, this is where Papillon went. This is where Papillon was.
Right. And so it's very, very cool, but there's no Wi-Fi. So I'm very excited to talk about like the endless amounts. I'm just like, I don't know how you would say it. I guess when you're on a train, like one of those, like in the movies when the train is like, you got to like see if you can like run out the tracks or whatever it is.
Oh, that's you with your
those
data?
Like old Westerns. It's me with my data. Will it keep me home like through my TV shows and this podcast and everything? The amount of data I've had to use because there's no Wi-Fi anywhere. Well, but anyways, yeah. So I'm in a little room in a little house, which is very cute.
I admire
very old timey.
I admire your dedication. Becky, how are you doing?
I'm so pumped today.
Pumped?
I'm pumped. I am pumped. I'm so excited for our main topic of discussion. I've been thinking about it all morning.
You've been waxing cars and doing push-ups and
I've been waxing on and off all morning since my baby woke me up at 6 a.m. I am ready to go. I also tried out this new protein smoothie that has some sort of magical ingredient that's not caffeine but super energizes you. And
ginseng?
Lion high. No, maca?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but I'm interested. I'm interested.
I don't know, but it is like I feel jazzed, but without being caffeinated.
I was definitely Googling the other day, do I have narcolepsy?
Yes.
So it's not funny. We have a friend with narcolepsy. It's a very serious condition.
No, I wasn't making fun of it. You're the ones making fun of it. I'm the one who thought.
No, I'm just laughing.
I'm not making fun of it.
I'm laughing at the fact that you think you have it. You just don't pay attention to stuff. There's a difference.
So how are you, Shai?
How are you, Shai?
Do you have something special that you want to share that you need us to ask?
No, I just have things on my mind, stuff I want to tell you about.
Tell us.
So Mom and Dad were visiting this weekend, and we had the most wonderful time. Again, one of the best parts was watching home videos. We watched Lily's bat mitzvah video where, again...
why would you ever want to do that? Like, the plethora of content that you guys have, why would you go to that?
It's kind of like the forgotten gem of the home videos because it captures every awkward stage in our family, except for you, who looked amazing at your bat mitzvah.
Yeah, considering you
my peak.
You look pretty good.
No, my peak was at Becky's bat mitzvah when I was 15 or 14. That's my peak.
Either way...
I was creeping living up to my peak.
Either way, if you average out the family awkwardness, but Dad, by far, he looks the best. He's sort of like debonair post-'80s dad. Mom's hair looks like someone took Han Solo's hair, but enlarged it and made it into a giant foam hat.
It was a lot.
And my hair looked like my 6-year-old's current hair. So it was seriously fun, though, and a great experience watching all those videos. And Mom and Dad are always so helpful. They helped me take the kids to their swimming class. The swimming class where my kids go is amazing. It taught them how to swim. They had so much fun. And after
it taught them how to swim? The class? The swimming class?
Yeah, the school where my kids go. No, as opposed to, believe me, I'd taken them to other swimming classes that did not go well.
Oh.
Last summer, when I was the poor teenager that was I don't know how poor, maybe she was just a terrible swimming teacher, but the poor teenager had me like pleading with my kids to get in the pool, and eventually I asked her, I was like, so this happens with all the kids? She's like, no, most kids want to swim. I don't know what's wrong with yours. So the new place that we go to was just phenomenal. And Mom and Dad were with me, and the kids were so excited afterwards that they saw them swimming. They were waving to them throughout that they jumped onto Dad's lap right after the swimming class.
Oh no, all wet.
Soaked his pants. Like, he gets up, and even a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old knew, looking at that it looked like he had peed his pants.
Oh no.
So we're leaving, and just the way they sat, right, because of their tiny little bodies, each sat on the inside of his leg, so it's just like these two huge wet streaks. And then we're getting ready to leave, and Mom and I are getting the kids out the door, and we can't find Dad. Now, in the Goldfish Swimming Academy, in the swimming school, there is a area where all of the kids get to use their own hair dryers. It's sort of like a trough of hair dryers, and the kids hop up on a little stool and they dry their hair, or their parents help them dry their hair. There's 6 of them. They're all outside the changing area. And as we're walking out, we're looking for Dad. We can't find him. I look over across the swimming school, and there is Dad in a crowd of moms and kids hosing down his crotch with the hair dryers to dry his pants.
So not hosing down, drying.
Drying down. Just like fanning and twisting and turning. It was quite a scene. But it's one of those things that I think when you get older, you don't realize it looks funny, and Dad was just totally cool about it and went on his way with dryer pants. The other exciting thing that happened this weekend was my daughters went to my niece's birthday party, which was something called a sleep under. Now, this is for all of the parents out there. This might be the greatest innovation in the history of parenting. Because if sleep unders had existed when I and my sisters, particularly Lily and I, were little, how much grief and anxiety would it have saved us?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So just
actually, in my later days, I went to one sleep under.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was just emerging when I was probably in about the 5th or 6th grade.
So a sleep under, for those listening, is like a sleepover party, a slumber party, but you do everything but the sleeping over. So the kids get together in their pajamas, they play games, they watch a movie, maybe they do a little karaoke or make some desserts together or something like that. And then when it's time for normal bedtime, parents come and pick up the kids so they can go home and sleep in their house.
But normal bedtimes, like 8 o'clock?
No, I mean, my kids went to bed probably about 9:30 last night, which is, I'd say, on the later side for them from having come from an activity. So it's a little bit of a later bedtime.
And like everybody has to be cool with it.
But as a kid, I remember this is for all the Montrealers out there, staying at Jonathan Garance's house on Circle Road for one of his sleepover parties, and knowing going into it, because he had all of these horror movie posters in his basement where we were going to see, he had a Hellraiser poster, a Nightmare on Elm Street poster, a Sleepaway Camp.
And you're like, it's not fucking happening.
I knew going into this sleepover party, and I wasn't going to say to anyone that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally faking sick by about 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Like, guys,
we played
I'm 100% not sleeping at this sleepover.
Yeah, we played like 2 hours of Double Dragon, and then it became I knew better than to do it right before bedtime. It was like right before, and I just went up to his mom and was like, I got a stomach ache. Call my mom. I'm going home. Really? You do? I'm like, yeah, it's time.
See, you were
giving me
smart one. You were strategic.
Yeah. And so, Lily, I know you would have loved having sleep unders when you were a kid.
Oh yeah, because to this day, it's just so weird that I live so far from home because I literally never left to leave the house. So let alone sleep over somewhere else, like where they might turn the lights off. Are you kidding me? There's no way I would do that.
Yeah.
It just was not my bag, not my thing as a kid. But here's the thing: I don't understand. What is is it because this generation is probably more anxious than even I was that they're doing it, and they just don't have to deal with picking up kids at night? Because I feel like I was not the norm. Like I was that one kid at the party who didn't want to sleep over like Shy, but everybody else slept over, and then all the other parents got free babysitting for a whole entire night. Now as a parent, I'm like, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so
this is a pretty good deal, though, because the kids are taken care of until their bedtime, and they come back to your house, and then they go to bed. So it's pretty cool. We had a good night.
Yes, and then I'm thinking, I'm like, it's probably that other parent who's like, I don't want eight-year-olds sleeping at my house. I got to work on Monday. That's what I'm assuming it's about. It's a sleepover house parents that are like not happening anymore. But anyways, I'm just gonna say I did have a successful sleepover as a child. My very first sleepover was super successful. I guess I must have been between 8 and 10 or something like that. And it was because by a complete coincidence, I was at a sleepover across the street at a completely different kid's house. The two families did not know each other in any way, shape, or form.
In TMR.
In TMR, which is town of Mount Royal. And like, if you could just imagine, Montreal is a really big city. It's not like a tiny little town. It's huge. And so this was like far away from our house, at least 20 minutes from our house where we lived.
And let's be clear, no one knows where TMR is. I could not find
like
TMR
by
on
a highway somewhere.
It's
on
like,
the other side of Mount Royal, but that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, because that's where downtown
like Beaver
is.
Lake.
Yeah.
And downtown, like the plateau. So I'm like, how many Mount Royals are there? I don't know. The point is that it's called TMR for short. And I wonder if Rockland Mall is still like.
I still feel like I have no idea how to drive out to TMR. Like, I don't know how to get there.
Nobody knows how to go there. When one of your friends moved...
Côte de Neige. You have to take Côte de Neige to Jean Talon and then go into Cary a little bit.
When one of your friends moved to TMR, that's it. You were never going to see them.
You're never going to see them again.
And it's the same way. When the Pinchucks moved to Westmount, suddenly we saw them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
True.
Anyways, the point is that I remember being a little kid and just knowing that Shy was across the street at a completely different sleepover made me be like, I can stay. Which is hilarious because let's say I got scared. What was I going to tell the mom? Go across the street and knock on a stranger's door, get my brother? That makes no sense.
Right. It's not like
but it calms me down.
But most of your decisions were not.
Text you. No, it was not rational, but it makes me really happy to this day to think that you were just across the street.
Well,
it's very sweet.
Well, thinking again about our childhood, one of our favorite movies ever is, of course, The Karate Kid and the ensuing series. And we have been building up to this for a while. If you go back to earlier episodes, we've been talking about the Cobra Kai series on YouTube and how excited we were to watch it. Well, it finally dropped this week, and we got to watch it. I think we're going to talk about the first half of the program because are we all 1 to 5 episodes in? 1 to 6 episodes in?
I watched the first
5.
I watched the first 4 because I had to rewatch 1 and 2 last night with Vlad.
Oh, I'll rewatch 1 and 2 again.
Okay.
I freaking love it.
I've watched 5.
So I'll start with Lily. When we originally talked about the show, this was, I think, one of the first time we played Pitch Imperfect, and we tried to guess what the show was going to be about. It was when our dear friend Dave from Bonsai Retro Club was on. And Lily, how did we do on our predictions? I don't remember. Were we in any
I think we did terribly. I don't think we did well.
No, we did terribly.
I don't think we did.
We weren't even close, I don't think.
I don't think we were even close, but now...
Listen, mine was very far off, but it was still a good pitch.
Right. I'm saying I think we all had great ideas, but I'm shocked how simplistic the story is, and yet none of us got it.
And it's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's just start to say that it's incredible. And I know it's not just the three of us because I've gone deep on YouTube comments. I have read the comment section of almost every episode, which is to me better than Rotten Tomatoes because there are people who are on YouTube watching it in the moment and then commenting as if it was any other video, which Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that, I feel like it's not as legit. and YouTube comments are usually so mean, right? And, like so terrible. And like advertising really disgusting things. Yeah, it's like the darkest corner of the internet, I feel like, in terms of cyberbullying. And yet every single comment is amazing. Like, I just need to read you a few.
Oh, please. I love
Kyler
a dramatic.
is such a douche. Okay, Kyler is such a douche. Oh my God. But I love this show. My gosh, this has been so good. I feel like I owe you all for bringing this rivalry back to life. Thank you. Am I the only one who's feeling way more empathetic for Johnny than Daniel? What the hell? Oh my God, damn, they really wrote Johnny Lawrence's character well. The fans will always love Daniel Larusso, who's part of our childhood. And we like seeing how he's handling his life, and it's cool. They were seeing two men at a similar age dealing with their own struggles. But man, they're really giving us one hell of a story with Johnny. I have great hopes for this character arc. I hope the writers continue this well.
Can you attribute these, though? I feel like you should attribute these to the writers.
To who wrote them?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Brian Michael. 3 down, 7 to go. So far, so damn good. Scandalous. Miguel's grandma is the real star of the show. Harvester of Tone. 30 years worth the wait. Walter 167. Pokemon Go King. Sorry, I read that really slow because it was one word. Oh, yes, a Bananarama reference in honor of Cruel Summer on the original soundtrack.
Oh, the Bananarama pancakes.
Yeah. That's a great one. It's a great catch. J. Miller Design, can't stop watching. These are amazing. I'm telling you guys.
But like that's how you feel watching it. That completely captures how I felt watching it. And you know how last week or a couple weeks ago I talked about having expectations. So having watched the first 2 episodes and then convincing Vlad to watch with me last night, I was so nervous he wasn't gonna like it. And at the end of every episode, he kept going, one more. Can we just watch one more? And then at one point he turns to me, he goes, "Who's that guy playing Johnny? He is so good. Where did they find that?"
Okay. Guys, I have to read you just 2 more.
2 more.
Guys,
Not one more. 2
more. I have to read you 2 more. Okay? I'm telling you, this is just from episode 4. Like, if you go on every episode, there's tons of different, like, extremely positive comments. So Stephen Harper writes, "Never in my life have I wanted to see a grown man destroy some high school students so badly." And then Ryan Parvatkar writes, "Forget Infinity War. I found the greatest show ever. Go Cobra Kai."
So I think
people love it.
I think we can say people love it. We love it. I have been getting tons of text messages from people. I got a text message from a dear friend that I haven't actually been in touch with for a little while, just out of the blue last night, saying, "I hope you're watching Cobra Kai." And I was kind of like, "Yeah, I've been watching Cobra Kai," but. I think it's bringing people together, and I think so. This is the question I'm going to put to you all: is this bringing people together in the nostalgia way, or is this because it's a good, or is it nostalgia, or is it a good continuation of the story and the characters?
Okay.
Yes.
I will say that Fuller House is pure nostalgia, and that got me to watch the 1 episode with my mom, and we were like, "Oh, never watching this again."
As opposed to me, who's watched all of it.
Yes, but we got our palate. Like these are just shows you fall asleep to, so I'm not even counting that. That's but you know what I mean? Like that is an example of a reboot that is just pure nostalgia, and they're trying to aim it to little kids. This is, of course, based on nostalgia, and even the show recognizes it with all the references. When the Miguel is like wiping the window, and he's like, "Do you want me to wipe it a certain way?" And he's like, "No,
like,
why?"
Wait,
no,
but
like, it doesn't matter. Like laughing at the old the old story, and then it's obviously really good because in other words, there's no way all these people would want to watch it.
No, but here's the thing: in the promo, in all like the promotional stuff, Ralph. Why am I having a baby brain moment? I can't say his
Ralph
name.
Macchio, or as Josh, our guest from last week, pronounces his name, Ralph Macchio.
Macchio?
No, Macchio.
Oh, Macchio.
I think that's maybe how you pronounce it if you're from Montreal.
Ralph Macchio has been, been going on all the talk shows, and he keeps saying oh, we decided to do it because they had a fresh take on it. And in my mind, I go, that's a bunch of BS. What that means is someone was willing to pay me enough. Like, I never believed they had a fresh take, and that's why. And I'm watching it, and I'm going, this is a fresh take on the material. This is fantastic.
It really is. Because
And
the fact that Johnny, sorry to interrupt you, but the fact that Johnny is teaching like kind of nerds and like kids that get bullied.
This is where I'm feeling very, I've been writing you guys saying I have so many feelings that I'm getting so conflicted.
Very emotional.
It's because, technically Johnny is a deadbeat, and whether he had won the fight against Daniel all those years ago and had never felt like a loser, never been outcasted, he would have grown up to be a real a-hole because he was a horrible teenager. But then, so it's like scenario A, he would have been terrible. Scenario B, the current one, or vice versa, he's terrible. So like no matter what, he was always going to kind of turn out like a deadbeat. And you don't technically, you shouldn't feel sorry for him or bad for him. But then because he's teaching these outcasts, these marginalized kids, these nerds that get beaten up and tormented, you all of a sudden really want to root for him because you're rooting for them, even though his philosophy and his way of his karate methods are kind of like very much against what you should be teaching kids. You shouldn't be teaching kids.
Right.
So Lily
I agree
is married
with
to a bona fide martial artist. So
wait,
yeah.
I can't get there yet. Wait, hold on. I'm going to get there in 1 second. But I will say that Daniel alludes, like, you're right, Becky. And the fact that he's like no mercy and like strike for, and like it's not
that's not a healthy thing to teach kids.
It's 100%.
No, but then you have Daniel, who was taught the Miyagi way, and you know what? He turned out to be a really stable, great person, and clearly a very good dad.
Exactly,
but Daniel, more of like a philosophy. His philosophy is like a healthier one.
And I think Daniel alludes to the fact when he says, don't do what they did to you or something like that, what he did to you. He alludes to the fact as if he was abused, like as if he was like brainwashed by somebody who's like a terrible person. He was. And so Jose, okay, so now getting to that, sorry, you can go ahead. You were saying, I watched the show.
No, I want you to tell about
artist.
You watched it with a martial artist, so I really want to hear your take.
Not just a martial artist, someone who teaches kids martial arts.
No, like a ninja. Like, guys, like
a Mr. Miyagi. She watched it with like someone, he's someone else's Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, for sure. And the craziest thing is that like I have a lot of fun with my husband. You guys know my husband. He's a lot of fun, right? I think I would say.
He loves a little disco dancing.
He loves a good time. We have a lot of fun together. Last night watching this show was one of the most fun like I've ever had.
I'm sad I couldn't watch it with him.
He said that he couldn't watch it with both of you. He's like, you don't think that they would have waited for me for like the summer when we're together? And I'm like, Shai had it on the family calendar that there was a countdown to this show. No, he wasn't going to wait for you, but we can watch an ep together, I'm sure.
Oh, we can watch the whole thing together.
I'll rewatch it. Yeah, I'll rewatch it as a team.
Yeah, for sure. And it's only 10 episodes, so he was so yeah, we watched in one night. We watched 5. He was like, put another one on.
10 half-hour episodes. That's just the same length as one episode of Outlander.
That's hilarious. You always got to get it in there. Don't you?
Love me some Outlander.
But one of the things that Jose said, and like I'm not in any way laughing at him because this is like there's a lot of realistic things in this, is that like he was very seriously commenting that a lot of times when you're taught from such a young age, that kind of like martial arts is really intense and it is a whole way of life and a lifestyle. And then you become a teacher, you tend to repeat the way you were taught. So he's like, of course Johnny's teaching like that. That's what he was taught. He doesn't have another way to teach kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's something I wanted to throw out there. I think ultimately, I'll preface this with, I think ultimately the lesson that we're going to get, and I'm going to draw, everyone knows I'm stuck constantly on The Last Jedi. But one of the good messages of The Last Jedi, even though I think Cobra Kai, like Super Troopers 2, managed to be a better sequel than The Last Jedi was to Star Wars.
The only thing I took away from The Last Jedi was that like they should probably use pumps for poor breastfeeding aliens on other planets. That's literally all I took away.
So one thing I took away from The Last Jedi is the notion of balance And I think ultimately where this is going with Johnny and Daniel is some kind of balance between the two different philosophies. And the reason why...
That's what I think.
And the reason why I think there's some balance is that I think that there is a subtle message happening here about kids these days, and about kids and the combination. You have this combination of kids being more sensitive and more anxious in this generation than ever before, but also the bullying being more vicious and more public than ever before. So on one hand, I think Johnny's edge that he's teaching them is without the no mercy piece and without some of the more negative elements. It might be important for kids in this era in terms of toughening up. People always talk about how kids today need to, be comfortable not getting an A on everything. And I think that's somewhat where Johnny's philosophy is going. Now, the other part of it is that I think Daniel's philosophy of balance, and spoilers, so stop right now, or I'm not going to go deep into spoilers, but you get to the end of episode 6, Daniel starts to reconnect with his philosophy after he kind of starts to lose his temper, and you start seeing the beauty of the Miyagi way of teaching. And that's something that I think is really great about the story, is that I think you're seeing some value in what Johnny's bringing these kids, particularly when he gets the full class of kids. I don't know if you've gotten there yet.
I'm not that far, but I'm okay with spoilers because I feel like it can't be spoiled. It's so good, there won't be any spoilers.
It's really not about the surprise. And this is another thing.
Right.
This show is not about the surprises. This show is about the continuation of these characters. And them
character development. Character development.
Yeah, and them having put you back in this world in a believable way, in a way in which it's true to the story, but moving ahead. In any event, I think that you're going to see some sort of balance play out, because Johnny is kind of the protagonist of the story. He's definitely not the bad guy in the story. I think we are all clear that Kyler is the bad guy in this story.
Oh, God.
Kyler ranks as one of the...
I don't understand that name.
Is
it Kyle? Is it Tyler?
I love whoever came up with that name for this character.
Honestly, whatever writer came up with that,
they should come up with names for all characters.
They deserve an Emmy. Yeah, because that's
just based on
that name is phenomenal.
So let's talk.
Hold on. I just want to say, watching it with Jose. Well, there's a lot of stuff we could say about that. You keep going.
All right. So we're talking about characters. Let's talk about our new favorite characters. So we have Daniel and Johnny. They're back, but there's... What is that?
Sorry, that's my son trying to break into the room where
he
we're
wants
talking.
to be on the podcast. He heard
yes.
he wants to weigh in on his favorite new characters in Cobra Kai. So there are a lot of new characters that are added into the universe here with Daniel and Johnny. You have Miguel, you have Daniel's daughter, you have her friend, you have the new bad
Johnny's
characters.
son.
You have Johnny's son. You have
the bullies.
You have the spouses or former spouses. You have the bullies. Which character is your favorite so far of the new characters?
Okay, so I'm only 4 episodes in. So 4 episodes in, it's definitely
new
Miguel.
Characters.
Yeah, it's definitely Miguel is my favorite 4 episodes in. I'm hoping that with a couple more episodes, his daughter Sam will go higher on the ranks.
Did you see the episode where she goes to the movies with Kyler?
Yeah, that was the last one I saw. And at the end of that one, I was like, okay, I'm starting to like her. She's like, I feel like she could be a really great character. I definitely like their father-daughter relationship. But I would say, Miguel is my favorite new character so far.
I think he's a great character. I'm gonna go out on a limb and just be like, I feel like that little brother.
Oh, good shout out to the little brother.
His other kid, what is going on there? We need to unpack that. He's so terrible to that kid when he's like, this is terrible. I don't know if you saw that episode where he's like,
don't drink the butter.
It's on a restaurant. No, he appears to the mom. Mom says to him, don't drink the butter. But then, I don't know if Becky's gotten that far. No. But then there's another point where he's out, the first one down for breakfast. Yeah. And he's like, Dad, I want the pancakes. And he's like, it's not a restaurant. Eat your toast. And then the daughter comes in. She's like, I want pancakes. He's like, pancakes for everyone. And I'm like, oh my God, he is so, that has to come back around. He clearly ignores this kid.
So first of all, isn't that just what it's like when you're visiting mom with me?
Yes, yeah, 100%. We've all been Anthony Larusso.
Can I just say, Shai, that during this last trip, Lily and I were there for 2 weeks, and there was literally no food in that kitchen ever. There was no food. There was just like, we basically just starved and ate like takeout salads. Then the night before you arrive, she makes a brisket. She makes a ropa vieja. She makes a beef stew. She's like cooking up a storm. And I'm like, we're literally going to be here for another 48 hours. Why are you cooking all of this food now?
It's coming.
We're coming. As soon as you were coming.
It's coming.
Shiny.
So I'll go with. So I'll make the case for. Although I love the two characters, and I do think one of the great things about the little brother, by the way, is that in further nods to the '80s in particular, I think he is that classic, funny '80s side character, younger sibling that you always see. I feel like Seth Green always played that character when he was a little kid. Right. I feel like that's a little bit what that little brother is. Maybe they'll do something more with him.
They tried to do it in Stranger Things too. The kid that has a little sister. She's always like super spunky and funny. It's like that shout out to the little sibling.
Yeah, the 80s little sibling is an important thing. But yeah. I think that's great that you mentioned that. I'm going to go with Sam, although I do love Miguel and Anthony Larusso also. I like Sam because as you get a little further into the show, you do see that there is more to her, and there are some really great father-daughter moments. And of all of the characters, I am most interested to see where she resolves and where she ends up, because I think she has a little bit of you catch her kind of mid-story. Like Miguel's arc, I can see that unfolding, but her arc, I'm not 100% sure where that's going to go, and I'd like to see which choices she makes. I'm fine with whatever they are in terms of the character, but I'm excited to see those choices that she makes. Okay, Lily.
Talking about her for 1 second, wait, just for 1 second, in that movie theater scene, where he goes to like grab her and she does that like self-defense.
Her karate moves.
Yeah, That's completely realistic. And I just want to say that like if people are listening and have teenage daughters or have young daughters, like they don't even have to sign up for a martial arts class if they are into other things, but they can sign them up for a self-defense class. And normally martial arts schools like ours do run those kinds of courses. And they're super important because those are simple moves that my husband confirmed that are realistic. And like it's something you can absolutely learn. And I think it's really cool that she knew that and like isn't like this helpless like, oh, I did karate when I was a kid, I don't like it anymore. Like she retained her training and used it to her advantage. I thought it was awesome.
So
that scene.
I think then, needless to say, I think that Cobra Kai is a buy for everyone in the family.
Yeah.
I mean, This is a buy to me to the point where if a DVD set comes out, I want the DVD set so I can listen to the commentaries because I want to hear everything about this show.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Cool. So we will be back probably next week or the following week to talk about the rest of Cobra Kai because I'm sure we're all going to finish it really, really soon. In the meantime, let's move on and talk about what we've been watching.
Okay, can I go first?
Yeah, whoa, yeah. Go for it.
Oh, I don't know, ass-picking.
No,
I never have anything to say. So
no, you're usually like, I'm still on the 3rd episode of Outlander because it's still on.
No. No, I'm usually like, I'm watching the same 2 episodes of Billions for the last 6 weeks.
We'll do Billions later because you and I have to, when we finish this season, you and I have to go deep on this one.
Yeah. And so this show is insane that I found. I don't know if I found it. I think it's popular. But the letdown, like it is like somebody holding up a very real mirror to a mom's life or a new mom's life, and it's insane. Like I talk about Becky like had all these feelings while watching Cobra Kai. If you haven't had a kid, it's a great show to watch. I think it's really funny, but I think particularly it shows the uglier side of it in the sense that of how moms often feel and don't, and it's not even it's something that has to be said. It's just like how often moms behave and feel after having a kid, and all the different types of moms. And the show could seem like a stereotype, but literally, and Becky, I don't know if you got that far in the episode that you saw, in the mom group, I literally have met every single one of those moms. Like, one of them I know really well. Like, it's so well done, and to the point where, like, it made me anxious. Like, I got a little PTSD at some point, but I think it's excellent, and I don't know, like Becky, I know it was a bit like too soon for you.
This borders on the kind of show where I don't necessarily like always stories of real people just living miserable versions of my life.
Right.
So
I wouldn't say it's miserable. I just think it's very realistic, and very, very few anything on media or television ever show any real side of what motherhood's like. So the fact that this kind of gives it, yes, the ugly side.
Let's be clear.
But not necessarily depressing.
Let's be clear. Watch the Mother's Day. In fact, for next week, watch the Mother's Day 2 episode from season 2 of The Middle, and that is essentially what we did to our mother growing up. It was as real as I've ever seen it. Hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Got it.
But anyways, I don't recommend this to all people. I'm just saying that this show, I was like shocked at how well done it is. And it's an Australian show, which is very cool. It's produced out there, like filmed and everything and produced, and they do posts out there. It's like they have it written out on the show at the end of every episode, which is, I think it's a very interesting change of pace.
Very cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Beck, were you watching anything new? Or
No. This week, I watched a couple more episodes of Lost in Space, and Vlad and I sort of watched it bewildered, going, "Why are we watching this? Yet we can't turn it off."
It kind of relaxing.
Which is our relationship to it. We just kind of like enjoyed it, but
I think I know. But I also think you guys set the record straight on Twitter. Send all our love to Gato, because there should be no doubt that we're happy that show is in our life.
Oh no, I'm happy it's in my life.
This is an expectation kind of thing. It's like you put yourself out there when you recommend something to somebody. So I think, yes, you take a risk that people might not like it, but I think you're only worth recommending something to somebody that can take a negative criticism and make it worthwhile. You know what I mean? Like, just to go, "Oh, I didn't like it, it was stupid," then don't recommend me anything, because then I'm just being an asshole. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sometimes doesn't land, but at least the person who recommended it.
But I'm still for what it's worth, I find it enjoyable. I'm not saying it's the best show ever. I'm finding it kind of relaxes me. It's the same way Shai watches some of his shows to relax him. When I put it on at the end of the night, I feel relaxed.
So
I agree.
My relaxation show right now, and I'll just give a quick shout because I've talked about it a couple weeks in a row, is Get Shorty. That was totally worth it.
You're enjoying it, right?
I'm watching it in like
20
Yeah,
we also found that very relaxing. We also found it very relaxing.
I'm watching
Same
it
thing.
in 20-minute increments before bed. And again, I had to buy it because, again, who the heck knows what Epix is, and which is the network that it's on.
We bought it.
No, I bought it on Amazon. Oh no, you bought it.
I bought it on
well, I mean, you bought
but whatever. We collectively own it as a family.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I just bought on your iTunes so that you could watch it too. You have to see season 1 first. I haven't started watching it, but I have plans to watch Atlanta season 2. So I'm very excited to do Atlanta season 2.
I hear that's amazing. I am pretty much supportive of anything that involves Donald Glover. Anything Donald Glover is awesome. And I don't even like the TV show Community, but if I could just slice out Donald Glover in that show and some of the other actors, I would be happy with it.
He is delightful.
He is awesome. It is like only
I really want to
up from here.
I want to turn I can't wait to turn my Tunnel Bear on, if anybody gets that reference, my VPN, so that I can watch certain things. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff you can't watch when you're out of the United States. Some of the stuff, the VPN lets you watch it.
But Shai, just by the way, I'm pretty sure you can watch season 1 of Atlanta on Hulu.
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
pretty sure that's why
Hulu is not perfect example. Hulu is something you cannot watch anywhere outside of the U.S. The point is that if I turn my VPN on, I should be able to see Saturday Night Live from this Saturday, and Donald Glover spoofs Kanye, which seems like it's going to be very funny.
I gotta go back and watch it. That's great. So I, at Dad's recommendation, Dad has really cool taste in movies. And
oh right, yeah. He's been texting me about this movie.
He's on a roll, and one thing Dad is great at is character-driven, small, gritty kind of crime movies.
True.
He's never failed me, even when he recommends ones that aren't in English. He just nails it every time. And last night, we were actually going to watch more Cobra Kai, but Dad was insistent that he really wanted to watch this movie, Small Town Crime, starring John Hawkes, who played Star in
I love him.
Deadwood.
Oh, I'm a huge John Hawkes fan. You never have to ask me
The Sessions.
He, I would say, is probably my favorite actor.
Wow.
I would say, yeah, he is one of my favorite actors. I agree, 100%.
And then Clifton Collins Jr., who kind of looks like John Hawkes, and who, Clifton Collins Jr., he's kind of in everything. It's the best way to describe him. He's in Westworld. He always just kind of appears. And then Robert Forster, and then Katie Lotz, who is in DC's Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow. She's in it as well. And it's just a straightforward story about a down-and-out former cop who wants to be a private eye solving a mystery. Oh, Anthony Anderson is in it, playing against type a little bit.
Octavia Spencer.
Oh, and Octavia Spencer, yeah. And so it's one of these stories where it almost felt like it was a pilot for a show that I would 100% watch. Like if someone told me tomorrow that they were going to make 5 more stories about this particular character solving crimes in this little world, I would watch them. And the movie was only 1 hour and 32 minutes. It was totally worth it.
Love it.
It was really well done.
How long movies should be.
Yep, exactly. It was proof that it was just the good
all
parts.
Movies should be 90 to 93 minutes.
It was just the good parts.
88 to 93 minutes. That's the range.
So I recommend that movie for anyone who has a chance and who's interested in a nice gritty. If you like shows like Justified or you like Bosch, it's that kind of vibe. Bosch is on Amazon. It's that kind of vibe. Really cool, well done, and I guess the equivalent of an I Told You show for a movie for Dad, because he nailed it as usual. So thank you, Dad. All right, shout-outs. Anyone have any shout-outs? I got a few.
I do. I have a shout-out. I got a shout-out this week to, she's actually my doppelganger, Becca. If I'm ever not available to go on a family vacation, she could stand in for me. You wouldn't even know the difference. She has been listening to the show lately and enjoying it. So I wanted to say thanks for listening. And so shout out to Becca. And then actually a shout out as well to her husband, Edgy, because he has planned a movie night for us that I am so excited for. He has pre-ordered Black Panther, which we haven't seen yet and which I'm super pumped to see. So I will be reporting back on that in a couple weeks.
That's really cool. All right.
Cool.
Over to Lil.
Shout outs. I just want to say, come back to me. You
come back to you?
That's how many friends you have at the moment.
Come back to you? Are you trying to come up with...
we're ordering at a restaurant.
Okay.
Ordering at a restaurant.
I see
come back to me.
Okay, so I have a few. Number one, I got a really sweet message from @sunflowermaiden on Instagram, who was particularly excited about our shout out to Mom's Tostones. Mom fried up her amazing tostones.
Oh, cool.
And Sunflower Maiden is a longtime buddy of mine on Instagram, and she talks about all sorts of cool 80s stuff and just has a generally positive, kind of funny attitude towards life. So shout out to you. And another shout out goes to sundogsfire.com is just crushing it. That's of course where my art is featured this month, but they also just kicked off a really cool campaign to help them do some stuff with their copyright and licensing and a whole bunch of things to move their big project forward. So I'm really excited for Lindsay and Jen over there. A big shout out to Anthony, also known as @WeirdoAnthony, part of the Ghost Tweeters. I think I'm going to find a way to talk about Ash vs. Evil Dead fans every week. But he just joined 1428elm.com as a writer and just wrote a terrific article about Dana DeLorenzo, who is the lead female character on Ash vs. Evil Dead, and how she is sort of the new queen of horror, or the best actress in horror right now. And I 100% agree with him. So a shout out to him and to, of course, Susan Layton, who is also part of the 1428 Elm crew. And of course, last but not least, we can't have a show without thanking cousin Vanessa for tuning in every week.
Thanks for tuning in, lady.
Well, I want to do yes, I love Vanessa so much. She's my favorite fan, I think. Yeah, I love her. And so I would like to shout out to Howie Kislowitz, your musical wife, Shai, and musical partner since your children, your bandmate from What Does It Eat, because he tweeted, I was trying that when I said come back to me, I was trying to get his tweet where he basically quotes, I guess it was about Cobra Kai, I couldn't actually find the tweet.
No,
he quotes a line from one of the songs that
that had to do with your pizza tweet.
Oh, it was about my pizza tweet?
Your dessert pizza.
I was like, because it was a confused. I'm like, we were talking about Cobra Kai. I couldn't remember. And he just writes a line from one of your guys' songs about Jose, which made me really happy. And I tweeted him back the next line of the song, which I thought was just so sweet. It made me really happy. And then also, I'd like to do a shout out to Stevie Jackson. From isn't that the Talent Crush? Yeah. I am really bad. Like, it's not, no one should be offended. I'm terrible with names of things and stuff like that. So, yeah, the Talent Crush chat show. Because she tweeted out saying that she's turning 40 and is asking what she should do for her birthday, and then wrote that she really wished she could have, like, made plans to go to LA and do all these fun things. And then I wrote, just do it. That's why there's credit cards. And she was like, no, I can't, like, that's not responsible. And then I was like, okay, fine. But I do want to just I wish that she does get somehow to realize her, like, fun 40th birthday dream. And so shout out to her.
Speaking of that podcast, by the way, you've got to listen to this week's episode, or this month's episode. They were kind enough to take 2 of my questions for their unreliable advice section. Yeah. One of them being about, so you'll have to tune in to hear the answers to these questions, but one question was about how does one get over post TV show depression? What is that?
Oh, that's the sound of Bart flying by my house.
Oh my gosh.
It's really loud.
So
like he lives by the tracks.
Yeah.
So it's a very expensive neighborhood.
It's a very expensive neighborhood by the tracks.
So, anyways, they took the Talent Crush podcast, chat show, which I love, took my questions for their unreliable advice section, which comes towards the end of the episode. And the first question was, how do you get over post-TV show depression, which you know is a major concern for me. Mm-hmm. So they riffed on that, and then they also riffed on this very strange choice I put before them, but they were very kind to do it, which was a choice between watching You Can't Do That on Television or Kids in the Hall, which led into Stevie Jackson doing the most amazing riff on Canadian television and the Canadian television from when we grew up, including name-checking The Littlest Hobo and Danger Bay. And last but not least...
Oh, The Littlest Hobo. That I remember.
Not but not least, her agreeing with... she said on her own, but we agree with her, that Orphan Black is probably the greatest show ever to come out of Canada. So, anyways, I encourage everyone to check out that podcast. And if you'd like to hear the answers to the various questions I asked, Stevie does a phenomenal job, and Chris also does a phenomenal job, in my view, giving me excellent, unreliable, but reliable advice. So check that out. And on that note, I think we are wrapping up today's show. Becky, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PaperBKPrincess, and you can find some super delicious recipes on my food blog, my recipe blog, called everydayoat.com. And I will remember to post a new recipe I have. It's for a super yummy walnut basil pesto that is very enjoyable, and I feel like I meant to post it last week but forgot, but I'll actually click the button today, so by the time you listen to this it will be up there on the blog.
Cool.
Lily, where can people find you?
Chichi K. Gomez and at twitter.com. I always mess that up.
It's at
Chichi K. Gomez. At Chichi K. Gomez. I always go Chichi K. Gomez at Twitter, which makes no sense. At Chichi K. Gomez.
But I feel like
Twitter.com.
I feel like you're fairly advertising what you will be like to engage within Twitter. Kind of confused, 100%. But funny.
And I have to say, you should give me some props because I've been upping my Twitter game.
Your Twitter game is among my favorites in the world. And with all of that, I'd like to say...
It comes and goes.
with all of that, you can follow me at Pancake4Table. That's Pancake, the number 4, and Table on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow all of the Pancake shenanigans at pancake4table.com. You can follow just this podcast, if you only like that, at FridayNightMoviePod.com. And if you go there, take a moment to subscribe, download, and please leave us a review and a rating on iTunes or Stitcher or any of the places that you listen to podcasts. It really helps in terms of our visibility, and it's free for you to do. It's a free way to support us as we continue this endeavor that is this labor of love that is this podcast. Insert Lily's comment about what type of review to leave.
Only good ones, and you don't even have to listen to us. Just leave a good review. If you have time, listen, but, be supportive.
All right, guys. Dance on into the evening. We dance.
Dancing on into the evening.
Dancing to the theme music by What Does It Eat? And stay tuned for some big What Does It Eat news coming soon.
So excited.
So exciting, and I love the theme music.
All right. Rock and roll. Love you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Are you wait, are you done? Wait, did you stop?
You have to wait after you say are you done? You have to wait before you say are you
Give it
done?
a beat before you go.
You guys said,
are we done?
you said bye.
A breath.
You guys said it a lot.
A breath.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Wait,
But not
Okay,
really.
now we're
bye,
fine.
right?
Now you
but
can
not
talk.
wait. Is it bye really? No, it's not really bye, right?
Oh, now we're just talking.